What up? What up? What up? What up? comiXsense crowd, crew, community, 3C family. We are back again. Another Friday night. Just got paid. What have you? CSP in the house. comiXsensory Perception episode 8. We got the comiXsense crew in the house. We're gonna be talking shop. First and foremost, I'm gonna bring up the people, but before we do that, like and follow comiXsense on Facebook and join our comiXsense Facebook group. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us at comiXsense on Instagram and on the Twitter. That having been said, I'm going to bring up my peoples. First, I'm going to bring up Ian Michaels. Ian Michaels. Shout out to the people.
What's up, people? I'm happy you didn't put me on a second sooner. I was kind of making some inappropriate hand gestures.
I saw you. I'm trying to catch you in the middle of that. And next, we're going to bring up Rich Doesn't Read.
What's going on, everybody? How we all doing? Ian, thank you for wearing a Florida State shirt. I'm sorry, it's not a Florida State shirt, so that's a shame.
Listen, I had one of those. I had one of those jackets on Tuesday. Shout out to Peter Maresca up in the house. Shout out to everyone that's in the house watching on Facebook, watching on YouTube. Appreciate you. Shout out to you all. Yeah, man. We're gonna talk about it. It was a dope week in comics, some dope stuff. We had some more Ian Michaelisms happen today. We're gonna talk about that. She-Hulk, right? She-Hulk. Everyone is talking about Megan Thee Stallion. We're gonna get into it. But first, I need to ask, what's everybody drinking?
Ian?
Well, Ian has been a little under the weather this week, so sinus infection has got the best of him, so we're just drinking straight water today.
Drinking Wayne Gretzky's ice whiskey.
Wayne Gretzky's ice whiskey. He has his own whiskey, or is it called a Wayne Gretzky?
No, he's got his own distillery and his own winery.
I'm on Gatorade. Sorry for everybody being late. I had to shower and shave off the beard and get ready for the show. I am drinking Gatorade. Gave up coffee. Strictly drinking water, which I hate. It's the worst tasting thing on earth. And Gatorade.
What do you mean the worst taste?
It does have a taste. Certainly water has a taste.
What?
Tastes like water. It is its own unique flavor. Nothing else tastes like water. Name something else that tastes like water. It's a very distinct flavor. No, nothing is in my mouth right now. Nothing is in my mouth right now. Water has a very distinct flavor, and there are different flavors of water.
Talking about water and Gatorade.
Welcome to the comic book show. Yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna get into it. First and foremost, I got to tell you guys a really great story. It is an Ianism. Those who watch us on Tuesday nights, you are used to the Ianisms. We have an Ianism for you today. Ian called me up today and he said, Ish, I might have made a mistake. And I said, what'd you do? Well, it was only a $25 mistake. What'd you do? I bought a copy of the first cover appearance of Rocket Raccoon. Okay, where's the mistake? Where's the mistake, Ian?
So
what the mistake is.
The book is sitting here right next to me.
Yeah.
So very, very nice newsstand copy, which of course we all know that era newsstand means nothing. But very, very nice newsstand copy. However, there is a hole throughout the whole top right-hand corner of the book.
What kind of a hole? What kind of a hole?
Like a nail hole. Like somebody accidentally put a nail through it.
Accidentally put it.
No, you didn't. You don't accidentally put it
all the way through the book.
The whole book.
all the way through the book.
Can we see this book?
Yeah, can we see the hole?
So here's the book.
Okay. And that is
very, very
271. Nice Incredible Hulk 271.
271. All right. So
show it up a little higher so we can see funky little Rocket Raccoon.
Funky little Rocket Raccoon. First time he's referred to as Rocket Raccoon, by the way.
Right. Because his first appearance is in the Marvel premiere.
Yes,
magazine.
And he's referred to as Rocky
the Raccoon. Yes. So
I will pull this out of the bag and board so you guys can see this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we're looking at.
So my question to you is, we're gonna have some
It,
questions
it's through the
all the way through
backside,
too, all the way through,
all the way through.
all the way. They know not what they do. So
But
my question to you
again,
is, did you see the nail hole before you bought the book?
yes, I did.
So where's the mistake then?
So my mistake is, because usually I could refer to, one of two geniuses, as I like to call them, when it comes to before I buy a comic book where I got a little bit of a question, I usually call one of two people. However, both the two people that I called, which are my go-tos,
they didn't pick up.
Who
they
are
didn't
these two
pick up.
people,
No,
by the
no,
way?
no.
Who are
No.
these two people?
So my go-to people are Ish and Tropes. Because
comiXsense. Okay.
Of comiXsense, yes. So you guys have been in the game for a very long time. You know what holds value. You know what's a good buy. You know what's a bad buy. So I bring up this book, and the first comment I got back was, "So, what comic book shop saw you coming?"
Yeah, I did say that.
Oh, you said that.
I probably asked him 5 times. So yeah, why'd you buy the book? So yeah, why'd you buy the book? He's like, this is a $300 book. I'm like, bro.
It was.
Bro.
Before
that
rusty nail went right through it.
The joint is like a 3.0. If it were a 9.8 and only had the nail hole, it's like a 3.0. If that. Like, okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. You could take a 9.8 and you could put a very tiny tear in it, and it's gonna be a 7.5 every day of the week. That has a tear in every single page. I'm talking a cover tear. A 9.8 will go to a 7.5 standard. Like they'll just slap a 7.5 on it because of the slight cover tear. So that doesn't just have a cover tear.
Ian, I gotta ask, man.
It's got the Passion of the Christ type tear on that joint.
So here's my whole line of reasoning. Okay,
somebody accidentally put a nail through it.
Someone accidentally.
Yo, Ian created the backstory behind what happened to this book. He created it. He's like, well, it must have been an accident. Okay, I'm sorry, go on.
It had to have been an accident. There's no other way.
So there's always been this saying in the comic book industry that says, even if it's a low grade copy, if it's a sought after book,
yep,
if you have the opportunity to get into it, at least get into it at a low grade, and you could always upgrade.
Correct? How are you? Who's going to buy that? Ian.
Well, I bought it for $25.
So that's the only who. That's the who. That's the who right there.
I feel as though this is $25 worth of entertainment.
It's worth $20.
And
it might
this
be worth
is
less.
But no, this is where we get people involved and we say, hey, good buy or bad buy.
Well, here's a question. And we're gonna ask our viewing audience, was it a good buy, bad buy? But before we do that, here's the question. Because you said something that is interesting to me. So how do we know this is a sought after book? It is the first cover appearance of Rocket Raccoon. It is a key book. It is something that you should spec on. But how do we know that people are seeking out Rocket Raccoon's first cover appearance?
If the Rocket's your favorite character,
I don't know why Rocket Raccoon would be anyone's favorite character.
Okay, no, why would any?
I'd put him over Hawkeye.
You took it right out of my mouth. My point is, like, what if you just happen to, like, that's your favorite character? Like, oh, I love Groot, or I love, Nebula. It just, what if that's your favorite character and you just want to have that book just to have in your PC that you're never going to sell? At that point, then it's not really a bad buy then at that point, is it? If it's something that he's going to keep forever?
So Sam Murdoch, thanks.
That's because there are no other rodent characters that you can compare him to. Maybe Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl.
My Squirrel Girl graded does not have a nail hole accidentally punctured through the top corner.
No nail hole in my Squirrel Girl.
See, look at his is clean. Mine's in it. Mine, I don't know how mine came back in 8-0. I'm mad.
Now that's a newsstand that matters.
So
Oh, you have a newsstand too?
That's a 90s newsstand.
That's nice.
Yeah, that one matters. That's a 90s newsstand. Samuel Murdoch says Rocket rules. Shout out to Samuel Murdoch. He says Rocket Raccoon rules. So yeah, we're not going to leave that comment up long. Peter Maresca, maybe someone trying to get all Guardians and can't afford high grade. Trade it for a $20 book you need, because I said it's a $20 book. Shout out to Peter Maresca. Trade it for a $20 book you need. What up, Wilton Negrin in the house? Shout out to everyone watching, by the way. So we have enough people in the room. I just hopped on after watching She-Hulk. We're going to talk about She-Hulk, Sam, but I want to know. Let us know out there in the viewing audience. Hold that up for us, Ian. Was the Incredible Hulk 271 with the nail driven all the way through from cover to cover? Was this a good purchase for $25? Bad buy or good buy? Let us know. What up to Darren Tucci? Let us know in the comments what you think. We'll post them up on the screen. Was buying the Incredible Hulk 271. For those who didn't know, Ian called me. He said he made a mistake. I said, what mistake did you make? He said, it was only a $25 mistake. He said I purchased Incredible Hulk 271 for $25. It has a nail hole going from the front cover straight through the back. Darren Tucci says, yes, it was a good buy.
Ian, I'm still wondering, what was it that you called Ish for, thinking that it was that you made a mistake? Like, you knew the nail was in it. You knew what the price was. So what was the mistake then?
Because I would have told him not to buy it had he got a hold of me. I would have just said, yo, bro. I would have said, scrape up $100 and get a copy that's not going to grade like 2.
Thanks.
Because it has a tear in every single page.
See, as we talk, the grade's going lower, because before it was a 3, now it's a 2. The more we talk, the more you keep holding it up, it goes down.
I mean, outside the hole, through the whole book is a beautiful book.
Your finger can go through that. If you keep holding it up, it's going to be a 1.5 before you know it. Why don't you just hold it up like this?
I mean,
you should stick your middle finger right through that book.
Thank you, Ish. Thank you.
Because that's what the person who sold it to you did. They stuck their middle finger right through the book. And Peter Maresca says, or negotiate down and pay 10 tops. He says, trade it for a book that you want that's worth $20, or negotiate down and pay 10 tops. Darren, who is the pressing guy at Pressing Matters, who we really respect his opinion on books, he says it all depends on what you're going to do with the book later. If it's just a whole filler, no pun intended, then it's a good purchase. And I agree there. If it's just to fill a hole, if you're someone like Rich doesn't read, who doesn't really care about grades when he's trying to fill a run, in some cases, then there you go. I totally agree with what Darren is saying in those regards. If it's just a hole filler, you're not going to be able to trade that up, though. You're just going to have to move up. You're going to buy up.
You can't put that towards,
because unless you're talking to someone who, like Peter, I believe Sam mentioned earlier, someone who just loves Rocket Raccoon and is happy to have the cover. You know how finicky we are in the comic collecting community. As soon as and I'm sure Darren can attest to this, right? Not all. Let's go low grade. Not every 3.0 is a 3.0 is a 3.0 is a 3.0 is a 3.0. And I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, I was cornering the market on low grade Journey into Mysteries. And I know this from example from reselling them. I was flipping anything from 0.5 to 2.0 because I could follow eBay and track how many were in circulation on eBay. So I just bought everything from a 0.5 to a 2.0. And I discovered that, let's say 2.0. Not every 2.0 is a 2.0 is a 2.0 is a 2.0. And what I mean by not every grade is the same grade, even though it has the same grade. If you slap it in a slab, right, the more desirable cover is the cover that's complete versus the cover that's incomplete, right? And they say they're both 2.0s, right? Or let's say you have a cover tear. And let's take a cover tear on the front versus a cover tear on the back. They're both 2.0. The desirable cover tear, the one you want, or the market tends to want, is the one with the cover torn on the back, not the one where the cover is torn on the front with the presentation. Or faded books versus books that pop. You might have a book that's
visually appealing. It looks better.
More visual appeal makes equal grades. It differentiates between equal grades. For instance, you may have a book that's really beat up and it gets a 1.5, but the colors pop. versus a book that's a 1.5, but the colors are faded. The reds are not red anymore. You understand what I'm saying? They're both 1.5. Which one do you want? You want the visual appeal. At least the market tends to lean that way. I'm gonna pop up Darren's comment. He says the quality and condition of a book can have a flawless cover and still have a defect on it. Point being, the grade of the book all depends on the company it keeps with other defects, big or small. That is the best way to say it. It depends on the company it keeps with other defects. Peter Reska says, or the damage is inside or page is missing or complete, but cover presents well. Absolutely. These are things that differentiate between books with the same grade. That has a hole from one cover to the next cover.
So
I'd rather have a faded book that was complete.
At this point in time, I think it's worth $25 of entertainment value.
It is definitely worth the $25 of entertainment value. We spent a lot of time on the middle finger hole.
But you know what? Here's the way I look at it. This is not a book I was going to go out and search for.
Bingo.
You know, even if it was for the right price, like, it's probably not a book that I'm generally going to buy. But
let us see the hole again.
Darren, that's funny. You pay an elf pog train.
So, and here's the whole thing. Like,
it's not a little nail hole. It's like a carpenter's, like a cement. It's like somebody took a drill and was like with a screw type hole.
I think somebody held it up and somebody just shot a nail gun right through it and bullseyed it right on the wood.
Okay, so there is the book. We got everyone telling us whether they thought it was a good buy or a bad buy. Will you pay $25 for Marshall Falk in your auction for fantasy football? Wow, they're never gonna let you live this down.
Never.
So, never.
No. But I'm gonna flex some football right now. Who else has got this very, very nice Tom Brady mint 9 rookie card?
So Ian, I will say this to your credit.
Yes.
You weren't looking for the book. You found the book for $25. Are you happy with your purchase?
I'm happy with my purchase.
If you're happy with your purchase, then that's what it's all about.
It doesn't matter. I have a first cover appearance of Rocket Raccoon in my collection.
Yes.
I feel like
and if you're happy with it,
everybody, aside, even if you're someone that's picky on the grades, everybody's bought that book that wasn't the highest grade, but just to say that they have it in their collection. I remember at the last Decepticon, I ended up getting Wolverine from Mike from Collectibles. It was selling it for $10 because it had a bad stain on the front. Didn't matter to me. It's going to be something I want to keep, and got Rubenstein to sign it on top of it. It's something that you've seen. It's on the wall, but
and still no.
It's not Hawkeye.
I'm not a part of everybody. I'm not as grade snobbish as, say, comiXsense or Kaiser Trobze, for sure. But no, I'm not buying the book with the nail hole in it. That's the reason why Ian and I were having so much fun about it on the phone earlier, because I'm just not buying the book that I can just see the nail hole. I'm just going to pass.
And his exact first phrase was, "What comic book shop saw you coming?"
Hard pass on the nail hole. So moving along, and before we move along, I just want to remind everybody to like and follow comiXsense on Facebook. Join our comiXsense Facebook group. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram and on the Twitter. So, a couple things I want to talk about. So, Ian, we're going to stick with you, Ian, because we mentioned this before the show began. What'd you read this week? That dropped this week.
So I read Thunderbolts. So again, feeling a little bit under the weather, so I haven't gotten very much reading in. I did get to Thunderbolts. I got to it last night. So I got that in.
So I read Thunderbolts. What'd you read? Well, Rich doesn't read. What covers did you look at this week, Rich?
I looked at a lot of the colorful ones, the ones that had a lot of shapes, and the ones that essentially held my attention long enough. What
stood out for you?
Ooh, that's what it was. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna show you what stood out for me.
Is he going?
I don't even have it in here. I don't even have it in here. In fairness, the Thunderbolts cover was very nice.
Which one? Which one did you like?
Cover A. But I'll be honest, cover wise, I did like Peach Momoko's version of Amazing Fantasy 1000.
This cover is at
Oh, that
This is
1 in
where it's at.
25. Yeah, that 1 in 25 is pretty dope. Wilton says the series that he started this week was Little Monsters. I think I just got ordered to trade. I do have the run. I haven't started the run yet. So we introduced a new show this week called Issue X Spoils the Specs. One of the books that I covered that week. I hope you watched. You probably didn't watch. Ian, Rich, you didn't watch. These guys in the comiXsense crew don't even watch the comiXsense shows. Ian never watches Focus. He never knows what pre-sales are going. He never knows. Rich, shame on you, bro. You should have been there Wednesday.
I watched it Wednesday. What are you talking about?
All right, well, shout out to you. So one of the books we cover was Thunderbolts. Ian, what did you think about that book?
So I thought it was good. I mean, of course, it's got my favorite Marvel character in it. So I kind of feel like they did him a disservice.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Appreciate you. Go on. You think they would disservice Hawkeye?
Yeah, I think I kind of feel like they did him a disservice. But no, I thought it was good. They tied in the some of the last group of the villains for hire. They kind of gave you they kind of gave you a recent brief history of
Devil's Reign.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I like the book. We got a good spoiler at the end. So yeah, I'm happy with it. It's something I'm going to continue.
So how do you think they did Hawkeye a disservice? Because he's really a chump? They're chumping him?
They're chumping him, yeah.
Okay, so I get it. It's interesting, right? Because it kind of picks up with some threads left off in Hawkeye Freefall, which I think was a really good Hawkeye series, to be honest.
That was a good Hawkeye.
It was a good Hawkeye series. And Hawkeye Freefall, I thought the way he was presented at the beginning of the book, very beta male-ish, with the calling up Wonder Man and Wonder Man not even recognizing him. And he's like, it's me, Clint. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking we should start up the West Coast Avengers again. And then, I'm like, wow, they just kind of played him right out. But there's something in this Hawkeye character, which I think is one of the reasons why he's no longer accepted as an Avenger. There's something in him. And I'm not talking about the spoiler at the end. I'm talking about this thing, this bitterness that he tends to hold, like with the scene with him and U.S. Agent. Like, you know what I mean? His beef with U.S. Agent that he is not willing to let go, even though U.S. Agent had announced, like, I'm on your side. Like, you know what I mean? I'm working with you. Like, what are we doing? And Hawkeye's like, I don't care. Like, he just doesn't care. Like, because the last time he encountered U.S. Agent beat the crap out of him. So, I mean, I get it, but like, come on, man. We're fighting villains right now. You're fighting the Abomination. You're fighting Electro. You're fighting Taskmaster. You're fighting Shriek or Scream. You're fighting like
Agony.
You're fighting some tough villains. Wilton says Marvel said that Incoming was a pedal stone to everything in the Marvel universe. How has that panned out? We're actually seeing those results. Still seeing results from Incoming. Even now, like we're still seeing results from Incoming, which is weird because some of that Incoming dropped in 2019, 2020. It is, but again, I think the pandemic kind of pushed some things back, but we're actually seeing things that were dropped in Incoming now. Like when you look at Defenders Beyond and you see the Eternity Mask being given to America Chavez from Blue Marvel, like we're seeing these things. Think he has a little superpower envy. Maybe Hawkeye needs a super soldier serum. But yeah, that Thunderbolts book, I thought it was really cool. I thought he got chumped out when they brought in, when secretly we find out that Luke Cage wanted Spectrum to be the leader of the group. But on the same token, I mean, Ian, I know you love Hawkeye. I'm not trying to hate. They handled their business until Electro popped up. And when she popped up, it was all she wrote. Like nobody could do nothing with her until Spectrum showed up. Like none of them could do anything with her. The greatest scene in that book, Persuasion, telling Abomination to repeatedly punch himself in the nuts. It was just, listen, loved it.
Yeah,
loved it.
It was good. So I'm always going to stick with the fun stories. I mean, it's a fun book.
It's okay.
If anyone read, and I'm just going to, another Thunderbolt series during the King in Black run. So the Thunderbolts, that 3-book run where the team was Taskmaster, Star, Batroc the Leaper, Death. Like, if you
Batroc.
read Batroc the Leaper, I'm sorry.
Batroc. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Go on.
So, I'm sorry. I think my wife just murdered the little dog
Mm.
in the other room.
We don't want to do that on YouTube. We don't want to murder.
I know, right?
We have PETA. We're gonna have PETA after us.
But no, like, that book was very, very fun during the King in Black run. And I kind of see that, like, this is going to be the same, where this run is going to be fun. And there's nothing wrong with reading a book that is fun.
I agree with you 100% on that. There are a couple books that I read or have read and enjoyed that were just a fun book. You know what I mean? Just a really good, fun book. Peter Maresca, I'm going to throw up your comment. Didn't get a chance to read it, but assumed America Chavez would have been a powerful house enough to handle Electro. No, man. No, man. No, bro. No. No. Yeah, I don't understand. And people don't get it. And this is Electro's daughter, by the way. But people don't understand that back in the day, Magneto respected Electro. He wanted him to be a part of his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and he wasn't even a mutant. Electro is Magneto level power. He's underplayed because he was a part of the Sinister Six. He should have never been a part of the Sinister Six. Electro is one of the most powerful beings on Earth, hands down. Hands down. Electromagnetic spectrum stuff. It's crazy how powerful Electro is. Spider-Man on no day of the week, and you're right. I mean, America Chavez she's pretty much Superman on that team. For sure. She should have I would have liked to seen her go toe-to-toe with Abomination. But America Chavez went up against Taskmaster, much to the chagrin of Taskmaster, because he was not winning that at all. Wasn't happening.
The best is she gets shot in the face.
He empties the clip.
Yeah.
He empties the clip in her face.
She gets shot in the face, and she's just like,
okay. That's what you got.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah. Empties a clip in her face. Like, yeah. This particular version of Electro's daughter, I don't know if she's equal to Electro yet, but she had stated she had absorbed a large percentage of the power in the city, and then she went and got Guts and Glory and absorbed a bunch of his abilities. So at that point, she was pretty powerful. Spectrum is the one who just came out of nowhere. She kind of saved the day. Spectrum came out of nowhere and just like flew her up off of Earth, and then when she brought her back down, she was no longer conscious. Oh yeah, Samuel. He says he didn't know America Chavez was powerful. She's pretty much Superman with the ability to warp through multiverses, but she has super strength. She can fly. Like, yeah, she's like super strength, like upper tier level strength. America Chavez is very powerful. Very, very powerful. I mean, in Defenders Beyond, with the assistance of the Eternity Mask, she went toe-to-toe with the Beyonder. Like toe-to-toe with a Beyonder. So, yeah, I mean, she needed the assistance of the Eternity Mask given to her by Blue Marvel, who didn't need the Eternity Mask. But with that mask, she was capable of going toe-to-toe with Beyonder with her own power level. So that was in the most recent issue of Defenders Beyond #2, written by L. Ewing. Shout out to L. Ewing, the best writer in Marvel Comics, in my opinion. That is what it is. So you read Thunderbolts #2. What else did you read?
So, unfortunately, that's about where I'm at for this week.
Oh, man, I can't ask you guys what your favorite book this week was.
So I did read some of Amazing Fantasy 1000. There were a couple stories that I just couldn't grasp onto. I'm going to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
The some of it was good.
Mm-hmm. That Jonathan Hickman story was so great.
What one was that?
You Get It. It was titled You Get It.
Right.
Did you watch Issue X Spoils the Spec this past Wednesday?
I actually
on our YouTube channel.
I enjoyed you breaking down.
I tried to watch some of it.
Did you go to the channel? Did you like the video? Did you thumb it up? Did you thumb it down?
You do these things in the middle of the day. Now,
are you even a subscriber to the channel?
No.
I've been under the weather. I've tried to maintain with work. So I tried to watch some of it. I got a call while it was going on. unfortunately, that's a pretty big violin right there.
You know I can mute your
It's
mic,
not like
right?
that small one, yeah. But
Is that
I
about
don't
it?
know. I just
Did you
yesterday.
go to the channel and click like on the video?
Nope. Nope.
Have you liked a video? Have
Admit
you
it right now,
liked
you've
a
not
video
even-
on YouTube at
You know
all?
what? Well,
Have you
even-
liked
well,
any of comiXsense's
Actually,
video on
yes.
YouTube?
Actually, yes, and I think I've commented on a few.
But this past one, the new one on Wednesday. Well, you go ahead and you like it. Ish, I actually particularly liked how you broke down Gambit.
Oh, are you clowning me right now?
No, I'm not. No. Like not the book itself. Like you broke it down, but not just with him. Like him finally getting out of the pink, but the girl that's in the book, she wears the pink.
Marissa DeCastro. She wears it on, I believe, issue number 3. She's certainly on that cover wearing the uniform. So, but she's no joke, right? Like Marine, Second Force, Recon, not a joke. Not a joke in that book. She's not someone that you just think you can roll up on and push over.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. Gambit, I guess, you know, I'm not saying I'm screaming, oh, go get, listen, it's Gambit. It's Gambit. You know, so for me personally, I've never been into Gambit. I have a bias. I've never been into his series. I have them. I've read them. And every time, maybe they are good. Maybe they're great. And it's for me because I'm so biased. No, because I'm not. Because when something is really great, I'm going to say it despite my personal biases or personal feelings. I can call something great without actually enjoying it, but recognizing that, yo, this was great. The writing was great. I can see why people like it. You understand what I'm saying? This Gambit series isn't bad yet. I just don't think that I care about what happened with Gambit and Storm and you know, Adolescent Storm during, it takes place in between issue number 267 of Uncanny X-Men. So it's like, do I care? I don't really care. Marvel was on this drive of doing 90s stuff again. Like, that's just what they're doing. They're Captain Marvel set in the 90s. The Ben Reilly Spider-Man, Savage Spider-Man, a bunch of 90s throwback stuff, X-Men Legends. They're doing this. Night was a Silver Surfer joint with him and Thanos. They're just going back to the 90s and bringing all these people out of like the comic book retirement home. Well, Peter David and Chris Claremont, and like they're literally like, hey, we have nothing better to do. Let's call up all these people who aren't relevant now. No, not.
But
and have them write a 90s tale because God forbid they write a 21st century tale.
But here's the whole thing. They're bringing back the nostalgia. So they're bringing back, because let's face it, during the pandemic, someone who read comics in the 90s, you know, I came back to it during the pandemic. What's going to play to me from reading books back when I was 12 years old? It's going to be that nostalgia factor. What did DC do? DC just brought back Azrael in his own series. You know, what did I just finish out?
Are you saying that bringing back Azrael is comparable to bringing back Peter David and having him write a story in the New Fantastic Four in the 90s?
I'm just saying that nostalgia is a big part of the market right now.
Okay.
Because you have a lot of people that have come back to the market because of nostalgia.
Okay. No argument. No argument.
Because, you know, and quite honestly, I put a post on comiXsense because I finished out what I thought was an impossible run to finish out.
I saw that.
And
that Batman run.
And here's the
whole thing. Man.
That is straight up nostalgia. And I kind of said, you know, I stopped collecting comic books when I discovered girls. And let's be honest, you know, girls became more important to me.
You didn't know girls existed before you started collecting comics?
Well, you know, girls had cooties.
And then so I understand what you mean by nostalgia runs because my run of Last Unicorn, IDW, very low print run, very hard to find, was a nostalgia run for me. Very difficult to find, very expensive run. You were there when I got my run.
I was there when you got your run.
$6 for a run that's like ridiculous. Listen, I probably made $294 and off that $6. So yes, I really want to address Peter Maresca really quick. How do you guys read oversized books like Amazing Fantasy 1000 or Increasing or Damaging the Book or cover? I always find it hard to do and not crease the binding of it. So for me, Peter, if I'm going to get an oversized book as a reader copy, the one that I reviewed, I used a damaged copy. Here it is. Like you see, I didn't turn the pages. I had it folded. I took a damage.
Did you put a nail through it?
And read it. But for me,
I quit.
For me, because I order books and now I'm going to be doing reviews, I order an extra book for review purposes, specifically for if I know I'm going to do reviews and I figure out what book I'm going to be reviewing or which books I'll be reviewing. I just order an extra copy of each book for review purposes specifically. Eventually, Marvel is going to be sending me. Listen, I hope you out there listening, Marvel. Send me your books for review. Send comiXsense and issue X spoils the spec, your books for review. You're gonna. Yeah, I don't know it yet, but you will. You will. Because comiXsense is coming.
Key Collector seems to be figuring it out, but now Marvel needs to catch on.
So generally with those oversized books, what I generally do is I take another book, I stick that book inside the other book, and I very, very tediously open it up just a little bit.
Shout out to Jason Robinson and shout out to George Turnage. Shout out to Corey James. Shout out to everyone in the room. Sorry, Ian. I just want to get into a position where we can pay some bills. So I need to remind everybody.
There you go, George. That's right. comiXsense isn't coming. They're here.
We are here. Like and follow comiXsense on Facebook and join our comiXsense Facebook group. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Follow comiXsense on Instagram and on the Twitter. I got to put this comment up because comiXsense is here. Yeah, we here now. Listen, we are here. We are here. They just don't want to see us. Y'all gonna see.
Who doesn't want to see this beautiful face?
I mean, you're gonna see. Appreciate that. George says share to his page always. We really appreciate that. And really quickly, everyone who's watching on Facebook, we really appreciate it. If at a point in time during the stream, you jump over to YouTube, give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. Help us out. Help. We're trying to get the channel grow. We want to be in the algorithm. I type in comiXsense, shout out to the other comiXsense page without an X, and that's the page that comes up. Even though I put an X in it. Not trying to bump them out of the algorithm, but I want to be in my own algorithm. When you type in comiXsense, we want comiXsense to come up. We want that to be the first thing. So if you can, at a point in time or another during the stream, if you like the content, just jump over to the YouTube channel, click thumbs up, click thumbs down, what have you. Click the notification bell, do all of the things or one of the things. Just don't do no thing. Appreciate that. So where were we? Ian, I cut you off.
Yeah, I forget where I was.
Right, because in the process of me cutting you off, Rich doesn't read made a pun at your expense. That's what happened. So we got some stuff coming out next week. That's really cool. Really cool.
No. I know where I was at. So we were talking about the oversized books. So I generally take it like an old comic book that I don't care about. So like I have this really beat up copy of Punisher Warzone 75. And generally with the oversized books, I will stick that in there. I will open up the pages just very small.
Right.
And very tediously like read.
I do that with my trade paperbacks.
So I mean that's how I get through those oversized books. That's how I read them.
I do that with my trade paperbacks because I don't want to put the crease where the pages are. So I like slightly open them and I'm like.
I mean, that Amazing Fantasy 1000, I had somebody just like whip a 1 in 100 copy at me on Tuesday. So, I mean, that right there is a thing of legends.
Let me see you toss some books.
1 in 100. Oh, 1 in 100.
I just be tossing the books. Listen.
That was
whiz that thing past my head.
I
Yeah,
wasn't paying attention. My bad, man. I know I tossed the
he
book.
just got in the heat of the moment. He was just throwing books.
So, Rich, do you at least look at the pictures?
What do you mean inside the book?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay. Rich is right. Yo, Rich said that with like
you know that
too.
there's
He's like no.
So there's a reason
man.
why I don't open the books. Now, I granted I could get reader copies. I could absolutely, but I don't get reader copies. The copies I get, either 1, 2, whatever copies I have, those go right in the box. And I told this to Trobes, and he agreed and he understood it. The minute I open that book up, regardless of whatever it is, and if I open it up enough, and I'm not careful enough because I've never read a comic book, I'm not going to be careful with it. I will promise you, I would probably rip a page and drop it down to a 7.5 instantly.
This is a guy, right, who tediously kept, before he discovered, what's the app I told you about? CLZ. Before he discovered the app, he tediously kept every issue of every comic he bought in a notepad with a pencil.
With every key appearance. So think of it like this. So Star Wars High Republic Adventures #1 got a bunch of first appearances. If I bought 5 of them, I wrote that down 5 times. So 5 each. It's
you didn't do quotation marks? You just write it once and just quote.
Yeah.
Nope.
You know, they make computers you could do this stuff on too, right?
Yo, with pencil, for real. When he first told me that, I'm like, yo, bro, there's an app for that.
I mean,
like, yo, he was like, I'm writing them in pencil. His wife's like, yeah, he's, he keeps these notes. I'm like, notes?
Ish laughed at me so hard when I told him that. When he found out I kept notes, he's like, no, notes for what? He's like, what do you need notes for what? Like, you're going to go buy a book? Like, you can go buy it now.
Like, yo, he literally was like, yeah, she's got notebook. I'm like, she's like, he's got notebooks. I'm like, notebooks? What you mean notebooks? Yeah, he writes them down. And then I'm like, okay, it's really tedious to write them down, but I get it. But then she's like, in pencil. I'm like, yo,
Jason, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Okay, see, the only difference is you were on an Excel spreadsheet. I was going handwritten. It would literally take me hours.
But Jay is now on COZ, as are you.
Yes, and
because all of that stuff is for the birds. It's so easy now.
It really is.
I might be a little bit of a crazy person, and I actually use that good Lord, League of Comic Book Geeks.
So George D. Turner says, okay, so that's a good topic. I use COZ, but since they lost their pricing feature and want me to pay for a full CVR price subscription to get pricing, I'm thinking about dumping CLE. I don't know what they mean by pricing feature.
Yeah.
COZ.
Is that your monthly payment that you're making, opposed to just buying like a yearly subscription?
We'll wait to get some more input from George on that. George, give us some more input. Values of the comics. Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of hard, right? Because the values fluctuate. People use the GPA, they use eBay, they use for me, it was never really for me, CLZ is just a good way, a really great way to catalog copies of issues that you have, quantities, and covers.
Even key collectors off on what the value is on some of the books by a lot of money.
Yeah, Peter, and that's what they're saying. Peter says that they no longer get fair market value of books, but their fair market value is so subjective. That's why we call it the unfair market here. Fair market value is really subjective. I've never used CLZ for value. Again, I use CLZ as a very concise, and it is really good at cataloging your books. Yeah. How many covers exist? Because sometimes, especially me, where I'm a cover completionist for certain books, especially with Uncanny X-Men, because once they got past volume 1, there's so many different covers that I'm not even aware of. That COZ is very helpful when I'm looking to fill my runs and fill holes. I see, okay, I don't have that cover, or what cover is this, or what cover is that. I used to use, I still do. I used to use My Comic Book Realm for that information as well, which is a really good source to just look. If you're looking up a book, you can look up a run and it'll show you every cover. Not all the time, but in most cases, it'll show you every cover of a given book in a run. So yeah, they base pricing from sales of graded comics. to give prices. I use the downline process weekly to see movement of books. Yeah, I see. I get it. And I think it's a good resource. I just think, George, that F&V is so subjective. There's so many tools, especially when people are selling graded books, right? They use GPA, but then GPA never really meets up with it. It tries to. It tries to, because GPA uses sales to determine price, but in most cases, GPA doesn't really match recent sales. So, and that's in a lot, not most, in many cases, GPA doesn't necessarily match recent sales from any of the popular sales sites.
So essentially, I'm sorry, Ish, I was just going to say, so essentially, if you're looking for fair, like honestly, for fair market value for any book, is honestly the quickest way to do is just go to eBay and just to see what they're selling for and what they
whatever the most popular sales site is. If we want to go with eBay, we'll use eBay as an example. Recent sales are, as I said before, can be an indicator of fair market value, but the best indicator is current listings. What's the best price I can buy it for right now? What do I have to pay right now? So you don't want to ignore recent sales at all, but you definitely want to double down and cross-reference that with, okay, this is the recent sale, but what can I buy it for right now? If I had to buy it right now on eBay, what could I buy it for? Not the auction price, the buy it now price. And then maybe you can talk to the person selling the book, and I've had people say to me, hey, this book was going, just sold for this, and this is back when I was doing the Thors. It just sold for this. Well, yeah, because I bought it. Because I've been buying the Thors, but it just sold for this. Why are you selling it for? And it's like, come on, you know what I mean? The market is the market. If someone is going to pay, what people pay is what dictates the market.
That's a nice book.
Shout out to J Pop.
That's a nice book you got there,
Jay Robinson wanted me to show that off. So if you guys didn't watch, I did my first unboxing video yesterday.
I watched.
Jason Robinson actually sent me a gift. Thank you very much. I can't appreciate it enough. And
I done known this dude since we was wee lads. We started collecting comic books together. I didn't get a gift.
You didn't get nothing.
Did you send him a signed copy of Grimm #1?
I sent him. I think I sent him.
No, you didn't.
I think I sent him. I think I sent him a Star Wars Mandalorian 1 in 50.
He's like, I sent something.
I had to remember, because every once in a while we pick out people and we gift them stuff.
See, what had happened was I thought I sent him something, but I didn't send him nothing.
But I've been on this dude since we were wee lasses. We collected comics together. And,
there you go.
Jay,
there you go.
Jay, every time you post them X-Men books, I'll be like, yo, bro, what's up with that X-Men book? I'm just saying.
No.
I'm just
Jay,
messing with you, Jay.
That is a slippery slope, man.
Yeah, man.
That is a slippery slope.
Man.
Hold on. No, Jay and I are family. Like, we go back to like the east side of Buffalo, climbing trees and all of that. Like, that's where we go back way back. We were collecting comic books together at a very young age. Like, we go back. That is family there. Shout out to Jason Robinson. Hold on. There's some things that I wanted to cover here. Some very interesting things from George Turnage. They base pricing from sales of graded comics to give prices. I use the download prices weekly to see movement of books. He then goes on to say, I get the F&B is subjective, but movement up or down can give indication of what needs to be looked at for market shifts. This is true. However, F&V, first and foremost, is subjective. You're right. Market shifts, I believe, I think trends. How a book is trending on the market is a better term. I think market shifts is there, but I think it gives indication of what's trending for sure. But there's got to be, so the F&V can't be the hard, or excuse me, the GPA as F&V can't be the hard line on what the market is doing, because it never is. The fair market is always going to be subjected to what people are willing to pay. You could list a book, and again, I just said this. You need to check what you can buy it now prices at, right? Like, what do you have to pay for now? But until somebody actually jumps, until that frog leaps and makes that payment, those books could just sit there, and then eventually the prices are going to come down.
Gentlemen,
because
I'll be right back.
Yep, just because the buy it now price is as such. Maybe nobody buys it. Maybe the book isn't hot. Maybe nobody's looking for the book. And these are things that are interesting about the market, right? Like you can have a dope book, a real key, a real spec book that nobody wants right now. It's just not collectible right now. And so, yeah, you put your idea of a fair market value or a GPA price. Let's say you throw $1,200 on that thing, and it's a $1,200 book based upon, I don't know, sales from 90 days ago. But has there been a sale in 90 days? Are people buying the book? Do people want the book? J-Pop, shout out to J-Pop. George Turnage says he agrees. There are lots of people that only want to talk recent sales, but it doesn't mean that there's a book available at that price anymore. Wilton Negrin. I feel like Key Collector is corrupted. They hype certain books for no reason. I was one of the first people to join Key Collectors. I made a few attempts at submitting them information on books, just got backlashes. Listen, they ignored me when I submitted my exclusive covers to books that they were saying were going to be key books. Well, I have 2 books. They're both exclusive covers. They're both coming out on the same day. Here, submitted them all the information. Ignore, like, okay, cool. I like Key Collector. I'm going to say it again for the listening audience, for those who are new, for those who are not familiar with my ish-isms. If you are using Key Collector to spec, only Key Collector to spec, it is not spec. It is disrespect. If you are only using Key Collector to spec, it is not spec. It is disrespect. You have to do a bunch of other things, like read some books, read some synopsises,
Quick with the trigger if you
do some research. When it hits Key Collector, it's too late. Key Collector certainly stimulates and influences the market. I agree with Wilton. I definitely agree with Wilton. They certainly favor. I don't know if they're getting paid. I know the people who run Key Collector are cool. I know that. I've heard from enough people that the people who run it are cool. So I don't want to disparage Key Collector. Shout out to Key Collector. I've never had any bad experiences with Key Collector. I use Key Collector as one of my references for sure. I'm also ahead of Key Collector.
Always.
Not always,
No,
but
always.
enough times that I can confidently sit here on this live stream and say that I have been ahead of Key Collector. So that is what it is.
And what's funny is, like, I know that certain influencers will call out people who are ahead of Key Collector and say, "Oh, they got a friend at the distributor, like they're ruining books for people." Like that.
Yeah, us basement dwellers.
That Spectacular Spider-Man Annual 3. How far ahead of that were you? Like that was, you knew what was coming.
I mean, we influenced the market on that book.
You can go down the line of all the books in comiXsense.
But there's a few books that I've influenced the market on. So I mean,
there's multiple books. But Ish, it got to the point that literally days after, after you've been talking about 2099 books, is it any surprise that Key Collector out of nowhere there was a separate tab for 2099 books?
Yeah, but I'm not taking credit for influencing the market on that. But I did influence the market. We, as a community at comiXsense, congratulations to us all. We influenced the market on Spectacular Spider-Man Annual. I single-handedly influenced the market on Invincible Iron Man number 3, 1 and 25, like by myself. Yes, I literally, the 2 purchases I made hit CBSI. Period. Like within a week. They hit CBSI that like within a week. I directly influenced the value of that book. I bought 2 purchases. My purchases were the purchases that hit CBSI that week. I think I have a Facebook post showing it right when it happened, showing my purchases and then showing it in CBSI. So I mean, it's not the first time. It probably won't be the last time. I'm kind of surprised that a guy sitting at home in his house can really influence the market that way. And shout out to the comiXsense community as well, because it's really cool. It's really cool. Our community is small, but we're big. We're big. We're small. We're like droopy. You know what? So that makes me mad. And then he beats up the bull.
So the great part about this,
thank you, George. We appreciate you, man.
With being out in the community and talking to shop owners and stuff like that, is shop owners will give comiXsense this ultimate amount of respect. And like, I will be at a shop, we'll be discussing, hey, what's comiXsense got coming down the pike? I saw you guys are doing this awesome pre-sale. And people will ask me like about the group. And within the past few weeks, I've seen these people joining. Like, I I I kind of like to feel like I'm a brand ambassador almost.
I was about to say you're being a great ambassador because you certainly don't be like, yo, go to YouTube and like and click. You don't even like and click on you. Yo,
No,
shout out to that.
But here's the whole thing. You get people to hop on the Facebook page and they see the various things that comiXsense is doing. And by comiXsense, I mean ish, I mean tropes. Like, you guys drive this thing. Rich and I are fortunate enough to be along for the run.
No, you guys are dope. And the comiXsense crowd, community, and crew is really what drives it.
And
I mean, really what drives it. Shout out to the comiXsense crowd, community, and crew, my 3C family. I'm sorry, Ian.
And honestly, any one of them could be sitting in these seats, and that's where I feel very, very fortunate that like I've been able to be a part of this.
Absolutely.
Well, you humble me, and I appreciate to have you.
I can't thank you enough. And Ish said something to me earlier today that like was kind of, it's one of those things that you're just kind of like you have this very retrospective moment, and he says, and Ish, of course I won't say this if you don't want me to.
Go ahead. I don't even know what you're gonna say.
There are times where you make it so I could breathe.
He didn't like what you had to say.
I know, right? So
he's blushing.
No, man, you're gonna make me blush in front of all these people, man.
But like, and my wife was in the car with me when he said this, so I mean, I have a witness. But like, he actually said that like I put the wind underneath his wings at times, and I'm just like,
true
dude,
story.
You slapped me this past Tuesday.
True story, though. True story, man. True story.
But no, I mean, this is where this group is awesome. I can't thank everyone enough that jumps on here to listen to us talk about just comic book stuff. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah,
so thanks.
It is.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate the comiXsense crowd, community, and crew. The 3C family. Really appreciate you. I shout you out every week. We're always going to, on this YouTube show. This is one of the YouTube shows where we're always going to be kicking it with the people who comment. We are always going to be kicking it with you on comiXsensory perception. We're always going to get your perspective on things, your perception on things. We invite you to participate in this conversation. This is where the show has gone organically, and we are good with it. In the meantime, I want to encourage everyone to like and follow comiXsense on Facebook and join our comiXsense Facebook group. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on comiXsense on Instagram and on the Twitter. Love the group and the knowledge you guys give, but the bank account isn't as happy. Laugh out loud. Shout out to Peter Maresca. Peter's a day oneer. Wilton has a question. Shoot. Whatever you got, throw it at us. We are here. In the meantime, we're probably going to start talking about Shulky. They don't want to talk about Shulky. They don't want to talk about Megan the Stallion. They don't want to talk about Shulky and Megan double twerking. They don't want to talk about it. I do. So let's kick it about pedigrees. So pedigrees are only given to Silver Age books. How do you feel about modern books holding a pedigree?
I think we've had this discussion before.
Well, I believe they're talking about books that come from pedigree collections, which is what gets them a pedigree. So pedigree books are pretty much Silver Age, in some cases bronze, older books that are generally well preserved and come from a singular collection that had a singular owner, which is very difficult for me to determine how they could even determine that. Which is why I think it's hard for modern books, because how do you determine that only one person owned a given book in a modern collection, especially if it's a modern collection? But that having been said, I do think that certain copies of modern grails should be considered for pedigree. Ultimate Fallout 4, if it goes high grade. It presents well. It comes from a singular owner. I think that constitutes it. Samuel, so what we were just talking about, I've been curious what makes one collector a pedigree collector. It's the collection, which is why, as Wilton said, it's generally Silver Age books, because Silver Age books weren't traded. People weren't going on eBay, filling holes, flipping books. There was no eBay. So you can generally track that collection, even if they acquired books along the way. You can, didn't buy them all off the rack. You can pretty much track that collection to a singular owner. It's usually a basement find or attic find or what have you. And the books are generally in great grade. Maybe they've been read once, especially with Silver Age books, because people weren't bagging and boarding books. So then they'll say it's the McCarthy collection or what have you, because it belonged to such and such McCarthy. And it was found in, one of the houses that he owned years after he passed away, pretty much preserved. So that they'll give it a pedigree.
So
that in my opinion, we purchased our collection and we currently hold the most expensive Spawn comic collection in the market. That, in my opinion, would qualify. If we're going to give modern pedigrees, that definitely will qualify. Not only would that qualify, I think any book that is sought after, that's a modern age book that has a print run of, say, lower than 15,000 in completion should be considered.
So here's one that I'm going to toss out to you. So we all know that Mike Tompkins, his Uncanny Run is
like number 2 on the census.
Yes, number 2 on the census. So if it ever comes to a situation where, Mike lets those books go, do we think it's fair? Well, yeah. Do we think it's fair that should constitute as a pedigree collection?
Of course. Of course.
Like, I think it would be an insult if it didn't.
I mean, it's number 2 on the census, the CGC census. So it's just
number 2. Yeah.
It's already considered something.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's already considered something. You know what I mean? So again, we're going to be entertaining people's questions for sure, but we want to talk about Shulky, right? Episode 3. We got some really cool things that happened in episode 3. Megan Thee Stallion is not the coolest thing that happened in episode 3, but is not the worst thing either. It's not like Megan Thee Stallion stole the scene. That was an end credit scene, by the way, for those who are all Megan. It was an end credit scene. I think it's cool. I think it says a lot for Marvel that they have Tim Roth in this show, that they have Tatiana Maslany in this show, that they can get a Megan Thee Stallion on this show. I think it shows, first of all, the closing music on She-Hulk every week is dope. Like, it's dope. I think it's really cool that Disney is being a little bit more grown up and bringing in someone as edgy as a Megan Thee Stallion. She had one scene in the show in the courtroom, and then she had an end credit scene where they twerked, which was really cool. It was just cool. It was just a fun thing to do at the end of a Marvel movie. It's interesting how controversial or talked about it is, be it positively or negatively. And I'm thinking, if this was Deadpool and it was an end credit scene in Deadpool, people would be like, yo, that was dope. You understand what I'm saying? Like, people would be like, oh, it was dope. Deadpool was twerking with Megan Thee Stallion.
So, and full disclosure, I didn't watch the episode, and of course, feeling a little bit under the weather, didn't do much of anything. But I haven't watched the episode yet. I have seen the clips on social media of just like the end credit scene. And, without context, the way I kind of looked at it, and it kind of, put me in my place earlier, and I'm happy for that, was, I mean, you've built this very, 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 very strong independent character. I absolutely love the show so far. Like, I love the show. I love what they're doing with the character. Is he froze? Or is he just really still?
I'm here.
He's like a statue, man.
So I kind of feel like the twerking, it takes away from that very, very strong, independent woman aspect that I view it as. But like I said, full disclosure, I haven't watched it yet.
So the show, the one thing about the show that I'm disappointed in, and I don't want to jump too far off the rails with my disappointment, but one of the things that I am disappointed in is the way the Wrecking Crew were portrayed, they were lame. And I'm hoping that maybe this is just the first iteration of the Wrecking Crew, because they were lame. Like, it was lame. I know you guys didn't watch the show. Unfortunately, this is what we do. It is Friday. That thing dropped Thursday. You should have watched it. We're on YouTube. Spoiler alerts. Spoiler alert. Yoga Hawk doesn't do it for me. Only Hawk Smash. No one has liked that Hawk since he appeared. No one has liked that Hawk. We don't like Professor Hawk. We don't like Smart Hawk. We don't like, as Sam Murdoch says, deep reader Hawk. We don't like Swami Hawk. We don't like I'm gonna be your therapist, Jen Walters Hawk. We don't like any of that. How do we feel about Abomination, though? This iteration of Abomination. Do we believe him? Do we believe that he has turned over a new leaf and that he's Zen Abomination?
Well, I mean, according to the new Thunderbolts book, I mean, he hasn't turned over a new leaf.
Well, we're talking about the TV series.
Yeah, no. I know.
No.
I mean, even if we don't think he turned over a new leaf, he'll write us a haiku.
Yeah. Especially after this episode. If you see this episode, you don't know how close to home on that you are. Like, you have no idea how close to home you are on that. If you just watched the recent episode. Like,
Peter, I'm going to agree with you on that one, man. I did like Edward Norton's Hulk.
I did as well.
And I did as well. I like that Abomination in that one as well.
The problem is Edward Norton became a jerk, from what I understand. I don't want to.
He's always been a jerk.
Yeah, but he really became a jerk, and he wanted to do some things off like the beaten path, from my understanding. So I don't want to put. I like that movie. I liked Edward Norton as Hawk. I was a fan. So that's just what it is. Still a fan of Edward Norton personally, but I definitely liked Edward Norton as Hawk. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what it is. I agree.
That's good too, Jason, right there.
We know that particular it's canon. We know that for sure because Tim Roth shows up, right? So we do know that that particular Edward Norton Hawk film is canon. We know that it was canon because Iron Man was at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. So that Hawk was really a dope Hawk, though. Like a really dope Hawk.
Yep.
We've never gotten that in Marvel as of yet. We just haven't gotten that. So
I like what Jason said. Jason said Abomination.
You guys keep going. I'll be right back.
I like what
Jason, to get another Gatorade.
He said Abomination seemed a bit tamed in the Shang-Chi movie. And I kind of agree. I mean, You see what he did against, the Hulk. He pretty much throws Hulk around and puts his elbow right into Hulk's chest and scars him up. And yeah, I mean, he pretty much, he slapped him around like he stole something. And yet in this one, he gets punched by Wong, by his own punch. Like, Wong does the portal bit and that's fine. But he just seemed a little bit, like what he said, it's tamed, a little bit weaker. I don't know what's with the gills too. I don't know what that's all about.
I mean, the gills were in the comic book. The gills were in the comic book.
But so how do you go from the one that we saw with Edward Norton in that movie to?
I mean, how do you go from like a dark olive green Hulk to like a straight jolly green giant green Hulk?
That's a good point.
I mean,
that's a good point.
Honestly, I mean, the Incredible Hulk movie was a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be the person that will say that, as to where I don't like the Smart Hulk, right now, or, as they're going to probably try to spin it into Joe Fixit or as George Tunage said here, the Taco Hulk. Honestly, the Incredible Hulk in that Edward Norton movie, I mean, that was like the Hulk you want to see.
Yeah.
And Avengers #1, kind of same Hulk you want to see, like Hulk smash. We kind of got some of it in the Thor movie. But I just, yeah, it's turned lame. It has turned lame. Like, just
What?
give me good old classic. I'm gonna smash things Hulk.
Yeah, yeah. Jason, I don't. What was the homage to Buffalo in the Incredible Hulk movie? I don't. I've seen that movie tons of times. I can't remember what the homage is to it. Like, I really can't.
Did they?
Can you? I can't.
Did they give an homage to Buffalo?
Jason said that they did.
Yeah.
Abomination was comic relief when he fought Wong.
Yeah, I don't remember an homage to Buffalo in the Incredible Hulk movie. I'm not saying that there wasn't. I just don't remember it. It was so long ago. There's nothing that compelled me to watch it again. One thing about that original Incredible Hulk movie that I enjoyed was Doc Samson. Would love to see him show up either in this She-Hulk series, which was a early rumor, right? That we'd get a Doc Samson.
Yeah.
Would love to see him show up in this series or in some form or iteration in the MCU. It says George Turnage, Abomination was for comic relief when he fought Wong. I mean, Wong was comic relief in this particular episode of She-Hulk. Love that she breaks the fourth wall too, by the way, and love the way that she breaks the fourth wall. The way she does it is just very intelligent, very cool. Not done in just a hokey, like hokey pokey fashion. They really take time to determine how we're going to have her break the fourth wall, when and where. It's not overdone. It's always at the right moment. Love the way she did it in episode 3. Culmination of what we should see from her breaking the fourth wall. So that was really cool. Really, really cool.
I like that, George. That's a good point. Like, what if you took away Wolverine's claws? What if you took away Magneto's ability for, his helmet? Like, there's just certain things, that characteristics from characters that without them, are they really that same character anymore?
What are we talking about? Which
George,
character?
Yeah, I mean, he's just saying, like, why would you take away a foundation characteristic from a character like, like Iron Man without armor, or Cap without.
But what inspired that conversation?
I'm assuming.
We were talking about Hulk just going out and smashing, and now it's like it's smart Hulk.
And now he's not, and so you
right. I mean, so I don't think that they gave us that Hulk long enough.
No, they didn't.
Oh, okay, Jay.
Yeah, I don't think they gave us that Hulk long enough for us to. That's the reason why so many people rebelled against it. Even people who don't read comics and aren't familiar with comic books, who were brought in to the Marvel MCU because it's just the thing to do. It's such an impactful property on society. It's very entertaining. So you got people who don't read comics who are familiar with these characters from watching them for over 10 years now. And this iteration of the Hulk is not generally accepted, and they just keep giving them to us. But it's generally not. Nobody likes him. Like, nobody really likes that particular Hulk. I don't think they gave us Hulk Smash long enough.
No.
Purple shorts, no. Hulk Smash. Like, I mean, we got it
once.
Say again.
Didn't Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, we got you, George. George says taking the smash away from the Hulk.
Yeah, he says Hulk smash once in the Incredible Hulk, and that was it.
I think it was Captain America who said it, right? In the Marvel, he was like, Hulk smash.
Yeah.
Sam Murdoch says Smart Hulk probably appeals to kids in casuals. So certainly, I think kids would enjoy Hulk Smash more. Casuals, perhaps. But there are people who are overwhelmingly, this Hulk is just generally not accepted.
No.
And I wonder if it has something to do with Universal's license, which I can't imagine it does, because Disney's doing She-Hulk. But with Universal's license of Hulk, I wonder if they don't want Marvel to continuously portray the Hulk that they may want to portray one day. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of that, or even if I'm talking out of school or not. Sometimes I do that. So yeah, man, She-Hulk was a really dope episode this week. Because these two didn't watch it, I am not going to spoil it. I already gave some spoilers. The Megan Thee Stallion scene in the courtroom was apropos, especially if you pay attention to the secondary or subplot. Well, actually, the major, it's a slow, I don't know. There's 2 plots running through that show that run nicely intertwined through that show. One of the plot is about Megan Thee Stallion. So it makes sense that she shows up for the cameo at the end, and then again for the end credit scene. It all makes sense because again, Megan Thee Stallion is there's a narrative based around her. I mean, and just to make it just to spoil it, because oh well, this is what we do. I'm not going to spoil the show, but I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about. There's a character in the show who's suing a woman who pretty much tricked him she pretty much tricked him out of $175,000. The woman turns out to be an Asgardian elf who's a changeling, and she pretended to be Megan Thee Stallion, and she dated him and got him to pay off her car and like pay off all these bills, and now he's suing her. So this elf halfling who's a changeling was pretending to be Megan Thee Stallion, which is why we were even talking about Megan Thee Stallion. You know, he was doing Hollywood dating, as he called it, and he thought he was dating Megan Thee Stallion, and it turns out he was dating an elf from Asgard who was pretending to be Megan Thee Stallion. So there's that. So yeah, you get that character. You get the Wrecking Crew, which, man, they were lame. They were really lame. I'm still enjoying the show. Really enjoying the show. Looking forward to the next episode. There's that. What else we got? We've been on a minute. Anybody got any questions? Anything they want to talk about?
Yeah, hit us up.
George Turnage says, but Hawk Smash had a humanity, much like Frankenstein's monster did. We never saw the humanity in the monster either. I think we did see the humanity in Frankenstein's monster, but I see what you're getting at, George. I do see what you're getting at. Sometimes when you look at these portrayals of monster type characters, they are a stark reflection of ourselves. They kind of show us that we are more the monster than the actual monster. I mean, Hulk has always been truly a villain in the series. He just wants to be left alone. But if you don't leave him alone, he's going to tear everything up and down, rip planes out of the sky, all of that. Hulk is always a problem. And that's the Hulk that I miss. That's the Hulk that I want. I miss him in comics. I miss him in on my TV screen.
Yeah, and I mean, you know,
we're gonna pop Rich down.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Hulk, like even when he was in that that monster phase, you know, there was still the hero aspect to him. Like he still knew what was good, you know, and what was bad.
What?
You don't think so?
Which Hulk? Green Purple Pants Hulk? Or are you talking about the movies? Movies or comic books?
No, Green Purple Pants Hulk.
Man, if you made Hulk mad, he smashed.
Yep.
Yeah, but
ripping airplanes out the sky, like all of that. I'm tearing city blocks up.
Man, he punched a car in half and used it as boxing gloves.
Listen, man.
Come on now. Listen, what are we doing?
The reason why they created an entire military task force on Earth in Marvel Comics, they've only created military task force for two beings. One was Magneto, known as the Magneto Protocols, and two was the Incredible Hulk, known as the Hulkbusters. And the problem is when you have I don't know, 2-3 ton gamma irradiated monster that has immeasurable strength and gets stronger the angry is just walking around Texas, we have a problem. Like, we just can't have this guy walking around Texas. As soon as you make him mad, he has the worst temper in the world. As soon as he loses his temper, Hulk smash. Yes, he fought bad guys. Absolutely, he fought bad guys. I remember
didn't need CGI.
I remember AVX. When they were dealing with the Phoenix 5, it was one of my favorite scenes to read in comics. Shout out to the writers of AVX. I believe it was Mark Waid, where Captain America pretty much had to put his hat in his hand and beg the Hulk to help. Like, yo, you know, like beg him and like reason with him to help us. I'm just saying, man, listen, Hulk is a villain. Well, he was a villain. And what I mean that is yes, he's done good stuff. Secret Wars, when he lifted up the mountain to save all the superheroes, like, he has done good stuff. He will do good things. But raging Hulk, who wants to suppress Banner and is not, he's gone. If he tell you, leave me alone or I'm gonna break you, he's gonna break you.
So you mean like Starship Hulk?
Man. Man. This what we doing?
No,
This what we doing?
we're off this subject. No. We're not discussing that ever again.
This what we doing? Starship Hawk.
Donnie Cates crossovered us.
Yeah, Immortal Hawk would kill you. Period. Immortal Hawk would kill you. Speaking of L. Ewing, the great L. Ewing. Maestro, have you seen what Maestro has done? Have you ever read, believe it's not, if it's not Future Avengers, Future Imperfect, where you first get the first appearance of Maestro? I think it's don't quote me on that. But Maestro's not a joke, man. One of the most gripping scenes I've ever seen in a comic book is where Maestro Hawk took Tigra's both hands in one hand and both of her feet in the other hand and ripped her body apart in front of Wonder Man.
Wow.
Just
wow.
Ripped her apart.
Wow.
In front of Wonder Man. Future Imperfect. It was like, listen, that's when we first see who Maestro is. Future Imperfect is a book everyone needs to have if they want the first appearance of Maestro. You need to have Future Imperfect. It's 2 issues. It's got the acetate covers. Very strong story in that book. Maestro is the last man standing in this future. There's a museum with Wolverine's adamantium in there. The skeleton. There's Captain America's shield is in this museum. Like Thor's hammer is in this museum. Maestro is what's left. Wonder Man is there because he rips Wonder Man apart too. He breaks him open and just discards him. But he kills his girlfriend in front of his face first. And at the time, Maestro was the future version of Bruce Banner Hawk. Obviously, Marvel has moved further, and we now know that he's an alternate version. But at the time, when we read Future Imperfect, we didn't have all these alternate versions of characters, and we just knew that in the future, Hawk is going to be the Maestro, and he's going to be the intelligent, and the culmination of everything that he's gone through. He ain't playing no games. No games. And Peter Maresca said it. It is Future Imperfect, almost like a Dr. Doom character, a personal agenda, and either you fit into it or you don't. That is Dr. Doom in a nutshell. Dr. Doom has been an anti-hero because obviously it benefits him to save the world that he wants to rule, right? So he will. If the poop hits the fan, Dr. Doom is going to show up on the side of the heroes, but with his own agenda. Yes, and Old Man Logan, man, them Hawks was crazy. Well, they were raping each other. Hawk raped She-Hulk to have a kid. The baby Hawk.
Did you read Wastelander's Wolverine, though? Like the most recent Wasteland? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't pull any punches in any of those old man Wastelander books.
They have not. And they're brutal.
Yep. And I want everyone to like and follow comiXsense on Facebook and join our Facebook group. Check us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, follow comiXsense on Instagram and on the Twitter. How long do we think Sam Wilson remain as Captain America in MCU? For the long haul, Jason.
Yes.
He is Captain America. Maybe Bucky takes over at a point in time or another, but for the long haul, it is Sam Wilson. I believe the Chris Evans is done in the MCU. I think he'll have some cameos, but I think he's done.
I'm sorry, I just don't like Chris Evans as an actor.
What did he do to you?
I mean, did you ever see
Snowpiercer?
No, but have you ever seen Not Another Teen Movie?
No, because I'm not a teen. I'm not. No.
Have you seen that latest movie where he's got the mustache where he looks like one of those dudes?
Yeah, where he's really a douche in that movie. He plays a douche so well.
Yeah.
Did you not
like him in The Losers?
No.
I like him in The Losers.
Like Fantastic Four, I didn't like him as Johnny Blaze.
Okay, fair enough. I wasn't a huge fan of him in Johnny Blaze, but I liked him as an actor. I thought he was great in Knives Out. I think he's a good actor.
Where did he play Johnny Blaze?
In the Fantastic Four movies.
You mean Johnny Storm?
Johnny Storm, I'm sorry.
I'm like, Johnny Blaze is Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Sam Wilson as Cap, but thought I saw Chris signed up for 2 more films. I didn't see that. I'm not aware of that. I believe that if he does, it may be in some sort of throwback role or some sort of nostalgia role, but not as the official Captain America. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking with that. But that having been said, man, if y'all don't have any more questions, I think we did a good bit of time here.
Yeah.
I want to get ready to go watch some SmackDown before the big event tomorrow night. So yeah, I'm gonna let everybody say what they need to say, starting with Ian Michaels, followed by Rich Doesn't Read, and then I'm gonna go ahead and close out and tell you all good night.
So next week, folks, I will officially be absent. I do have to go out and do my Rockstar thing. We have contracts signed, and by I mean contracts, we have an actual contract we signed. So I got to go do my Rockstar thing next week. So unfortunately, you will not be seeing this beautiful smiling face. But you guys will be left in good hands. So yes, thanks for tuning in as always.
Guys, thank you so much for always tuning in. We always appreciate everything that you guys, everything that you buy, all the comments, all those things that you get to listen to hear us talk about, and all of our banter and whatnot. Ian, maybe I'll see you play a little bit, but I can't miss the show, though. I mean, I get it. You got to do your Rockstar Life thing. I get it. Don't forget to tune in on Tuesdays with us as per usual. And Thursdays is Bills season, baby. So go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills.
So yeah, we did it again Friday night, and we just got paid. Shout out to my comiXsense crowd, community, and crew. I want to encourage everybody. To like and follow comiXsense on YouTube. Click a notification bell. Subscribe to the channel. Like our Facebook group. Join the group. Like the page. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on the Twitter. Shout out to the comiXsense crowd, community, and crew, the 3C family. Definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with us tonight. This has been a comiXsense Shut Up-ish production. I'm Issue X, and I'm going to go ahead and shut up. And just so you know, no joke, Shut Up-ish production. I'm going to go ahead and shut up. Pieces, y'all.
Have a great night, guys.